Welcome back, Husker Nation. We are so close to 8:31, and the closer we've been getting, the more information we've been getting dropped on us. First, it was the long-awaited depth chart, and now we can react to the black shirt recipients being named. Hit that like button for us and tell us in the comments, do you like the way Matt Rhule has handled the black shirt situation in year one? Also, we are considering doing a live stream watch party Thursday for the game. Let us know if you guys have any interest in that or if we just shouldn't waste our time. Gary, what do you think about Matt Rhule giving out the black shirts before any of the players have proved it on the field in game?
I think it's cool that the tradition has stayed over all the coaches, since it originated with Bride and whatnot. But, Pelini gave them out really late a couple times. It's just everybody has their own different thing. Some give out a bunch, some just do the 11 starters. I'm more interested in how many overall they're going to end up giving out, if they're going to give out more, if it's just going to be 11 for the 11 starters. To me, his tradition or his version of that was a single digit number. So I think the black shirt tradition and idea has gained so much momentum and steam, and it's branding at this point to where coaches are kind of obligated to keep it. A lot of them reach out to ex-players to learn more about it, what's the best way to go about it, what they prefer, what they think, and kind of put it all together. So I like that they did that. But, giving them out before the first game, waiting a week or two, different things like that, for me personally, it's not that important. I know people have pretty strong opinions with stuff like that, but I really don't. What do you think? Like, do you think they should have waited? Do you like that it came out the way it did? Or
I just think it sets up to play out pretty interestingly, right? Because if things don't go well, not that I'm saying it will, I have high hopes, but you get the ball ran down your throat for over 300 yards game one, and it's just going to be deflating to the idea of the black shirts. I like that it'll hype the guys up, make everyone more excited, especially the starters. I'm sure they've earned it in practice, because I think if they didn't earn it and they weren't deserving of some sort of recognition, I don't think Matt Rhule would have given them out at all. I would imagine he felt like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do this because they've been working so hard.
To your point about like giving up 300 yards or getting the ball ran down your throat or getting blown out of the building, in that sense, over the last 10, 15 years, I feel like the black shirt idea or mindset or whatever you want to call it has lost a lot of what it meant. Now, rather when they first started it, it was with more intent of like this elite defense, like elite defenders on an elite defense. That certainly hasn't been the case. The tradition keeps going, but it doesn't have the meaning. Or whether it just happened that this is how we're going to decipher the starting 11, and it took on its own thing and kept going and gaining steam. And they just happened to be really good then, and they haven't been very good since then, or, I've had some years worse than others. But to that whole idea of if the defense isn't, let alone great, but if the defense isn't good and gets embarrassed, you take them from people. I get it, but if that's the case, then you definitely shouldn't have given them out, because you don't have a clue what your defense is going to look like against other teams. There's a defense. Somebody brought up in the comment section after our, I think Minnesota depth chart one, about does our defense look that good because it's going against our offense and our offense is that bad? And you and I have talked about that a little bit. We didn't bring it up in any of those, but that's a huge part of it. Is the defense really going to be that good? And maybe they're kind of stifling the development or growth of the offense as far as what it looks like in scrimmages, or is the offense really lacking and coming along? The offensive line hasn't improved and it's making the defense look good. So I mean, giving the black shirts out based on the quality of the defensive product or whatever, I don't think that's a factor. I think giving a guy a starting job is your way of saying, okay, you've worked hard, you've earned it, you've done this. But that next level meaning that a lot of people associate with the black shirts, I don't think it possibly can be, to your point, without playing a game, but I don't think it is a main key factor in who he gave him out to and who he didn't. What did you think about some of the single digit guys not getting black shirts? Mainly Henrik and some of the other guys when we saw the depth chart, and we kind of assumed between like the oars and different things like that, guys that would be starting. And there's a couple guys, that didn't get them. You hear stuff about injury and things like that. Were you surprised there weren't more than 11 given out, especially if it is an injury thing? Or do you think that it kind of shows, to me, one of the things that stood out to me, or an idea that popped in my head, was like he's made it very clear that the team is giving out the single digit numbers, right? They're voting on who gets those single numbers. The coaches give out the black shirts. So does that show, I don't want to say a discrepancy, but a difference in what the coaches see compared to what the players feel and see? Or do you think it's strictly because we're going to give them to the 11 starters and these guys most likely aren't starting?
What I got when I was watching Tony White talk and reading about the black shirts being given out, it seems like Matt Rhule's doing it specifically because that's the way way the Blackshirts were originally intended. It was 11 guys. That's it. I can see other guys earning them more than 11, but I kind of like it at 11. It makes it more hard to obtain.
Yes and no, because if you're going to keep it at 11, the linebackers that got him today was what? Obviously Reimer, Chief Borders, who wasn't listed as a starter on the depth chart, and John Bullock, who wasn't listed as a starter on the depth chart. So if those two are getting him because of injury or for whatever reason, they're going to start against Minnesota, and say they do well, but these guys come back from injury and they take the starting spot back over. If that's why they didn't get him, if they're not going to start, I don't know. We're going off assumptions, obviously. But let's say week 2 against Colorado, Henrik starts. He's good to go. Does John Bullock lose his, I'm using him as an example, but does John Bullock lose his black shirt because Henrik's back and Henrik's starting, so now Henrik gets one? What I'm saying is, like, it's not that hard to get it. If you're clearly better than me and you deserve the black shirt, but you can't play, so I'm playing for you. Now I get a black shirt. Did I earn it, or did I get it because you got hurt and they have 11 for the 11 starter? You know what I'm saying? One, you're going to rotate a lot of guys. So there's going to be a lot of guys who don't start that are still going to be taking heavy snaps during the game. But are you including those guys and expanding past the 11, and we're assuming off the 11 starters wrong? You know, we're making that wrong assumption. Or do you just go, okay, as guys impact the game after, this is just a starting point, we're going to give it to our starting 11 and we'll go from there? Like,
I think it will be who's the starter. This is just my assumption. Whoever's the starter, that means you've earned the black shirt. Maybe Chief Borders balls out so hard that he keeps it all season. Or maybe Heinrich comes back and takes his, or, you know, if there's a shuffling in where the linebackers are playing, because I know Chief's playing Jack, somebody's going to have to give it up, I think, to Heinrich when he gets back, if he's able to come back, unless they play so well against Minnesota. The list of guys officially that have been named black shirts. We got Nash Hutmaker, Isaac Gifford, Luke Reimer, John Bullock, Quentin Newsom, Deshaun Singleton, who's been balling out, they say. Dude's like prototypical NFL size too, so that's exciting. Ty Robinson goes to 9, which I'm kind of a little disappointed in. I'm glad he got the black shirt and the number 9, but I really like him in 99 because he's so big. Omar Brown, Malcolm Hartzog, Chief Borders, and Blaze Gunnarsson. Any of those surprise you other than what we've talked about already?
No, man. I mean, really, just that linebacker spot is the main thing. You know, we kind of already covered is some guys that were listed as 2s, or that people were wondering, like, they slide into that starter spot or whatever, got it. And then guys that, you know, MJ Sherman, Nick Henrik, things like that were listed or what we thought was going to be starters didn't. To me, that raises more of the question of, are they hurt, number 1, and 2, is there a reason? Is there something, not just the other guy being better, you know what I mean? Something other than that's going on with them personally or on the field, off the field, whatever, that held them back, that raises the questions to me of, are we going to find out more? Are they going to give out more? Is this just what it is? And back to kind of what we covered, but especially what we've heard out of, like, a lot of the secondary, I think we kind of knew what the defensive line was going to look like. So I'm not really surprised at that. It's just pretty much that linebacker spot.
Well, tell us what you guys think in the comments. Thanks for hanging out. Go Big Red.